Let's move on
Thank you
to
so
this
much.
story. Let's bring in Indiana Senator Mike Braun. Senator, President Biden made several over-the-top claims about state voting reforms in states like Texas and Georgia, calling them racist, Jim Crow. Even though Georgia and Texas's vote rules are more lenient and liberal than Biden's own home state of Delaware, where is his attorney general on Delaware here?
Great point. And let me just take a more at-home description. Indiana, 28 days of early voting. New York, 10. 11 reasons you can request an absentee ballot in Indiana, 4 in New York. The hypocrisy that flows from all of this is amazing. And when you try to escape your state, like the Texas legislature is doing, that happened back in Indiana about 10 years ago on right to work. Those following elections, we became supermajorities in both our House and Senate. It's not going to end well.
Yeah.
Those Texas legislators that flee to a place like D.C. to make their case for the People's Act, which should probably be for the Politicians Act, they're going to come back, and what they're going to end up doing is probably hurting themselves the next round of elections.
Yeah, the For the People, by the way, the governor of Texas can just call another special session when they come back. It's not like they're not delaying the inevitable. The Democrats want the For the People Act. It would force states to count mail-in votes that arrive up to 10 days after Election Day, compel them to legalize ballot harvesting, ban voter ID laws. Why are voter ID laws suppression when Canada, France, Mexico use voter ID laws? Let's show the viewer how many countries, dozens of countries around the world, have voter ID. Now, Obama says yes to voter ID. Jim Clyburn says we never were against voter ID. But they've been calling voter ID vote suppression. It's not.
Exactly. And even there, my guess is when this gets down closer to the finish line, they'll give up on the crazy demand to get rid of voter ID. That polls way against them. And that is one I think they might give up on. But here's the point for me. Where were all these complaints pre-COVID, all the things that were done through local jurisdictions to kind of change things that they now want to ingrain? It federalizes election law. And the Supreme Court just gave a real good indication in what happened in Arizona, 6-3, that what they did there was completely constitutional. They're way ahead of their skis on this one. And the fact that they had none of these issues pre-COVID in those elections, it is a typical Democrat move. They're political entrepreneurs, and they're trying to run with something that doesn't make sense.
The Texas law would extend early voting hours. It would have voting on Sundays. It's just getting rid of drive-through voting. It's basically Republicans are putting back the system to what it was in 2019, pre-pandemic. And so this is not voter suppression. The way it's being characterized is flat out misleading and wrong. We're going to show right now what the Texas law is all about. Your response to President Biden calling this Jim Crow?
So that is sensationalism. They're also good at that, taglining any issue like the COVID relief bill, the American Rescue Plan, even infrastructure, American jobs. You got to be careful because they'll sometimes take this, sensationalize it, generalize upon it. I think the public is getting onto it because they've tried it so many times. So I feel good that they're going to lose on this issue because it doesn't make sense. Supreme Court just weighed in. Look what happened in Indiana, I mentioned earlier. Political prices to pay for that kind of over-the-top behavior.
Yeah, we hear you loud and clear, Senator. When you look at the details and you stack it up to what the Democrats are saying, and their over-the-top hyperbole, the people out there are going to be like, what are you talking about? This is just going back to 2019. There's no voter suppression here. Senator Mike Braun, it's good to see you.